You know, that guy had a lot of fans.
Yeah,
a lot of people loved that guy.
Yeah, I know.
And if they find out that he got for something that they vehemently oppose in the first place, it could send people over the edge.
It could. It could, yeah. There's always that flashpoint moment in any, you know, in previous times like this.
Yep.
You know, there's always that tipping point moment.
Like the Rodney King film.
Yep.
Right. Something just like that's it.
Yeah. You know, this also highlights just a little bit of perspective, like how lucky Trump was.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's just like Charlie didn't get the benefit of a head turn or a couple of microns or millimeters or, you know, and it's just like, wow, who decides that?
Yeah.
You know, that is just, man, there's this
the Trump thing is bananas.
Yeah. But they talk about
clips his ear.
Yeah. Because he makes a reference to something.
Yeah.
And then it's just,
And then it clips his ear, where if he didn't turn his head, he'd be, and it would have been on live on CNN.
If you enjoyed today's video on Anonymous Official, leave a like.
Corners of history, there are events that, once examined, seem to ripple with questions that demand answers. Today we dive into one such event, a moment in time that has sparked heated debates and spawned countless theories. Welcome to the enigmatic tale of the dancing Israelis and the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. As the world watched in horror on that fateful day, a group of 5 men were spotted celebrating on a rooftop in New Jersey, with a direct view of the burning Twin Towers. They were reportedly seen high-fiving each other, taking pictures, and most controversially, dancing. Thus they earned the nickname, the Dancing Israelis. But who were these men, and why were they celebrating such a catastrophic event? The initial investigation revealed that the men were indeed from Israel, working for a moving company called Urban Moving Systems. Interestingly, the owner of the company, Dominic Suter, abruptly fled the United States shortly after the incident, returning to Israel. The FBI, intrigued by these unusual circumstances, decided to delve deeper. The men were detained and questioned. During the interrogation, one of them stated, "Our purpose was to document the event." This statement, coupled with the fact that they were found with multiple passports and a large sum of cash, only fueled the fire of speculation and conspiracy. The case of the Dancing Israelis brings to light the intricate web of international relations and espionage. The FBI files on the case, released in 2019, are heavily redacted, but reveal that the men were indeed under surveillance even before September 11th. The files also suggest that Urban Moving Systems may have been a front for an intelligence operation. The Dancing Israelis were eventually released and deported back to Israel, where they appeared on a talk show and again stated that they were there to document the event. This admission has led many to wonder, did they have prior knowledge of the attacks? However, despite these intriguing clues and their questionable behavior, there is no concrete evidence linking the Dancing Israelis to the events of September 11th. Their story remains one of the many enigmatic footnotes in the chronicles of that tragic day. This tale, like many others from that day, beckons us to question, to probe, and to seek the truth. It underscores the importance of remaining vigilant, of questioning the narratives that are presented to us, and of seeking the truth, no matter how elusive it may seem. So, what do you think? Were the Dancing Israelis simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? As you reflect on this information, Remember that history is often more complex and nuanced than it first appears. And as always, the pursuit of truth continues.
Gang violence. Great. Gang violence. Great.
The Jewish people first entered the land of Israel 3,300 years ago, and everyone can read that in the Bible. Assuming you don't believe the Bible, then you can look at archaeology, which shows evidence of about 3,000.
We need to find this crew.
Clyde's government contract payments were bothering me, so I pulled some ancient strings. We're meeting someone.
Who might that be?
So Clyde finally lost it. Somebody must have really pissed him off.
You worked at Shelton, is that right?
Okay, first of all, I was never here, and we never spoke.
Tell us what we're dealing with. Shelton was a spy?
Look, spies are a dime a dozen. I'm a spy. Clyde is a brain. He's a think tank type guy. His specialty was low-impact kinetic operations.
Just a hell of a fancy way to say that he kills people.
We kill people. He figured out how to do it without ever being in the same room. It was his gift, and he was the best. One time we're tasking this tricky target. I mean, we're using cruise missiles and predators, and we even had a B-2 bomber flatten this guy's villa with JDAM. All right, we're burning up millions in ordnance, and we're getting nowhere with this guy. So we call Clyde, and we ask him to solve our problem. Clyde develops a Kevlar thread with a high-tech ratchet made of carbon fiber. Put in a necktie. 2 days later, Mrs. Bad Guy comes home, finds Mr. Bad Guy dead on the bathroom tile, choked to death. What I'm saying is just assume that this guy can hear and see everything that you're doing.
No, we got him locked away, maximum security.
He's in jail, it's because he wants to be in jail. He's a born tactician. Every move that he makes, it means something.
Original, there's no timestamps on them at all or anything like that. I mean, they literally could have come out of ChatGPT, but these text messages, message exchanges there between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs, his partner, the alleged shooter's partner, read like some type of, it was weird. Everyone was saying, people came forward and stated their kids who were Zoomers looked at the text message. They said, "No, Mum, no one speaks like that. No one talks."
No doubt heard of the shooting, and I must admit, 'twas I. I had hoped to keep the secret to the grave, but alas, I have not lasted the better part of an hour. Why have I committed this act? 'Twas the hate of the man. Reason had no purchase in the poor soil of his soul. You have not asked, but in case you were wondering where I hid the rifle, my love, 'twas over yonder by that lingering squad car. My old man shall surely be missing it presently. Do you remember how I was engraving bullets the other day in front of you? Well, it was just to do a big meme. Look no further into that. Also,
psychology, what is born out of us from the different concepts of our life in the darkness or in the night or in the day, and all of these things come together. So now we see out of chaos the origin of consciousness. That's what this is. Talking about famine and sorrows and lies and doom and all of these things, the origin of consciousness, the things that we give birth to out of ourselves. Help me, Clarence, please. Please. I want to live again. I want to live again. Please, God, let me live again. Get me back. Get me back. don't care what happens to me. Get me back to my wife and kids.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new Mococo drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mount Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about?
Who are you talking to? I've tasted other cocos. This is the best.
Can't afford. Tell me what you saw and heard. It just smelled 40 people in there. Just the explosion. Just a light flash out my window. My whole doorway to the entrance to my office blew open. My office was freaking out. They just told me to calm down and get to the center of the office. Everybody was fine on my floor, and we just started heading down the stairs. I heard people were trapped in the bathroom. I ran to the bathroom. It was just blown out. I asked if anybody was in there. People weren't in there. So I started going down the steps. I heard people shouting. I stopped at like 68, and there's a woman in a wheelchair, and I got her in the strapped wheelchair and just carried her down the steps and carried her down 68 floors, man. And then we got lost on the 5th floor. It was chaos. It was just,
What do you work for?
Network Plus, communications company out of Randolph, Mass. Mike Benfanti, Benfante.
Thank you, Mike.
Chaos, man.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Thank you. Do you know where everybody's going?
But if we look at the falling of the Twin Towers, they turn to dust. They literally turn to dust. Now, that technology, which was little known then, slightly more known now, is called directed energy.
Stephanopoulos is down in Lower Manhattan today. George, I don't know if you heard a little earlier, we raised this question, which was actually raised by ABC's Jackie Judd, as we look at these areas down below. When you look at where the towers used to stand, there is surprisingly so little rubble. Where did all the rubble go?
It's a very good question, Peter, and I have asked some people who've been doing some of the rescue and recovery work this morning. If you look behind me, you can see the very remains, the skeletal remains of the World Trade Center. And one volunteer, Robert Gerlinski, explained to me the reason there's so little rubble is that all of it simply fell down into the ground and was pulverized, evaporated.
Where did the towers go? That's the title of your book. Where did the towers
go?
Actually, it was that conversation between Peter Jennings and George Stephanopoulos that inspired this title. You know, where's all the rubble? Where did it go?
But you know what can melt steel? Directed energy. So, these buildings, that two Jewish billionaires that were full of asbestos, that would have, if you brought it down with conventional demolition, you would have had to remove all of the asbestos, which would have cost billions. Well, it worked out quite well for Frank Lowy and Larry Silverstein. By the way, Larry Silverstein used to eat every single morning, every single workday. He went on the windows of the world, the North Tower, every day, except for that day. Apparently he had his an optometrist appointment that day. He missed that day. Do you know that Jews who worked in the building received a text message saying not to go to work? No Jews died there. In fact, oh, it's anti-Semitic. Oh, sorry about that. They did. Odigo gave him a text message saying, "Don't, you're calling sick." Lucky Larry had an optometrist appointment, so he wasn't there either. But a bunch of goy died that day. I also know Rich Rodriguez, who was the man with the key that saved a bunch of people's lives. He's a friend of mine too. But bottom line is this: those worthless, asbestos-laden buildings that were a liability to the tune of billions, that were now purchased by Jewish billionaires Lowy and Silverstein with doubled insurance policies, now fell to dust. Oh, that's disposal problem done. Free too, apparently. So you don't have to dispose of nothing. Now your buildings are gone. They turned to dust, no less. All based on what? Planes hitting fucking steel and a fire, and they fall into their own footprint. And do you know, again, people don't know this, they say they carted away all the steel to try. Bullshit. They were gone. There were holes in the ground with molten steel.
It wasn't molten because it was hot.
This is what Rudy Dent said. This is what the firemen said. They all said this.
It wasn't molten because it was hot.
You have the videotapes, the firefighters reporting molten metal like a slurry or a steel mill or a volcano. Those are quotes. Giant pools.
What about the pictures of them dragging oxygen hoses all over the steaming supposed hot metal? If it was that hot, you wouldn't dare do that, would you?
Oh, you have the infrared photos of the molten metal.
Well, again, what melted the metal? Was it heat?
That's a very good question. It's also one of the first times I've heard Alex Jones speechless. Here's this famous USGS image that folks say is evidence that it was high heat. They claim that at point E, it was 819 degrees Fahrenheit. Water boils at 212 Fahrenheit. This guy doesn't look like a boiled chicken.
I have an important question to ask you. Is there a reason why AE 9/11 Truth or the 9/11 Scholars or all these other, Grand Poobah organizations, is there a reason why they haven't filed in the court system anything about nanothermite?
Well, it comes down to some things. Remember I said that I filed a request for correction.
Or any other weapon, for that matter. Watch.
From the very beginning, I didn't believe the FBI 30-06 story. Regardless, it just didn't make sense to me. I really don't believe it now that we have footage of, and I'll show you guys some pictures of him not leaving with a weapon. Gary, I think we're both in agreement. There is a 0% chance this is a direct hit to the neck with a 30-06 round.
I think there's 0%. Yeah. Now I have a problem with the entrance wound being so large. Because that's a pretty big hole there. And quite frankly, it looks... And it was no exit wound. Hole there. And quite frankly, it looks like... And the reason why it was no exit wound, it was because it was an air-actuated pellet that hit him. The pellet is still in his neck. Because it's a pellet and not a gun. Not a bullet. That's the reason why there's no exit wound. It looks like it's elongated. Like, I've seen dudes shot in the neck, and even with a 5.56, I don't know that I've seen anyone shot in the neck with a 30 cal. But I can tell you, like, 5.56. And this is a 5.56. This is a 5.56 right here. Hold on, can y'all see this? This is a 5.56. I have these weapons myself. All right. So this is a 5.56. Do you see how sharp it is? You don't see this going into somebody's neck. It doesn't explode. It just goes into the neck. It's a and not a bow. Look how skinny it is. All right. It smoothly goes into and comes out the other way. So there is no entrance wound, let alone exit. The exit wound is what's going to be big and not the entrance wound. All right? So I'm letting y'all know with a 5.56 round, there is no entrance wound. There's only an exit wound. And in this situation, there's a big ass entrance wound, but no exit wound because it was a pellet and not a bullet. See, a pellet is round. A pellet, let me see if I got something. Y'all know what a pellet looks like. A pellet is like round. That's the reason why the wound was so big, because it was a pellet and not a bullet. These 5.56 rounds do not make entrance wounds because look how it's like a little missile. All right. Like I've 6 rounds. What is it doing?
I think there's 0%. Yeah. Now I have a problem with the entrance wound being so large because that's a pretty big hole there. And quite frankly, it looks like it's elongated. Like I've seen dudes shot in the neck, and even with this 5.56, I don't know that I've seen anyone shot in the neck with a 30 cal. But I can tell you, like 5.56, you couldn't even find it. Like you had to look for it. But a 30 cal, it's going to leave a small hole. But that thing is like freaking. It's a large hole. And it stays a hole long before it starts bleeding. So that's. We'll start with this bad boy. 5.56 from Norma Ammunition, firing military ball ammunition.
All right, so hold on. Let me put this on the big screen so y'all can see what a 5.56 does to the human body. You do not see the entrance wound.
And it stays a hole long before it starts bleeding. So that's. We'll start with this bad boy. 5.56 from Norma Ammunition, firing military ball ammunition.
See?
Firing military ball ammunition.
The body does not even move.
Ball ammunition.
You see? The body does not move. The body, when you look at the Kirk guy, his whole body was like, the body does not move when you get hit with a 5.56, which is this. All right? The body does not move. What happened? Oh, okay, here we go. Look at the body. It does not move.
Military ball ammunition.
Just one more time.
We'll start with this bad boy. 5.56 from Norma Ammunition, firing military ball ammunition.
The body didn't even move. All right.
Do you have an existing?
So shooting up. So the pellet gun, or this whatever the thing is, it shot straight into his throat. So shooting up under the stage, that didn't happen. Bulletproof vest.
Guys, explain to me how. Somebody tell me how there's a This is before.
And then if that is a bullet.
You see that little red spot above his freedom?
And if it was a bullet that came from up under the stage, it would have went that way.
To the left, right shoulder, his right shoulder, right below, right above his right pectoral muscle. Watch that speck turn into a bullet hole, but it moves across his shirt without leaving any trace that it was there, and then pops up onto his neck. Tell me how that's possible. You see it pop up onto his neck? Watch, it's over here.
Yeah, thank you, Krypton Born. We got to be careful of the words we use. Thank you. I'm trying myself. I'm trying not to say that word also. So I appreciate you for that. But do y'all see what I'm saying? It's air. The reason why his shirt popped up like that, because air. It's air. Air blew his shirt up like that. So the air pellet gun went pop, and the air is what caused his shirt to pop up like that. Because it can't be anything else but air. That's the reason why I'm saying an air actuated, because I said a detonator. It's not an explosion. There's some type of air detonation that actually happened.
It's over here on his shoulder. Then it goes up. His shirt pops way up because I think there's a blood bag in there or something. But look at.
And if he was shot from below, it would have hit his chin. If he was shot from below, it would have hit his chin, or it would have actually went through the shirt. See, the thing about it is, nothing went through the shirt. The bullet or the pellet or whatever it is, it did not puncture the shirt. How can a bullet not be able to puncture somebody's shirt? And the force of the thing went this way. It would have just popped through the shirt and past his face. So no, I think there's an air-actuated pellet detonator that popped and it went in his throat. And the shirt is the air.
Look at that, how it pops over. Now where's the hole? Where's the damage to the shirt? Alright guys, just look at this.
Alright, this is more proof that there was a device, whether it's a detonator or something other than a gun, that did this. Why in the world would my security place a fan under my chair? So my security, out of all people, is concerned about my ass being hot. I don't think so.
Look at it. Place the fan. Act casual. Checking time. Signal.
So can anybody explain to me why my security guard is putting a fan under my chair? Can anybody explain that to me? I literally never have heard of somebody putting a fan up under my seat. Why? Why? I don't get that. What the hell is that?
Look at this.
All right, this is more proof that there was a device, whether it's a detonator or something other than a gun, that did this. Why in the world would my security place a fan under my chair? So my security, out of all people, is concerned about my ass being hot. I don't think so.
Look at it. Place the fan. Act casual. Checking time. Signal. Alright, check around. It's about to happen.
This is crazy.
The blast doesn't come from in front of him. That's the exit wound. And look at the blast from the shirt. Goes up. Like it came from under. Like it came from under.
I don't agree with that.
Just speculation. Just open conversation. It's just as men. I'm a retired Green Beret. I'm not mentally sick. But just look at this, guys. Think for yourself. Just take 2 seconds to let your brain compute and think for yourself. What does that look like? Honestly.
The detonation came from under his shirt, not under his...
$1 million and tours around the country before disappearing back to obscurity.
Oh my god, you guys are so lame! No, I'm watching Fame or Shame!
Oh, fucking tits.
No!
Game's on fire.
What a talent! I've never seen someone set fire to their crotch before. Fantastic!
The most racist guy in America. You all disgust me. Automatic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Jay Norris to the stage. Hey, this company has come a long way since we started it in my parents' pool house in East Caraway. Today, you're about to witness a new phase. Full-on, weapons-grade, red alert, world domination. We have put 1 billion people's private data in the public domain, and we have milked every penny we could in the process. And we have one of the youngest workforces in the world. An average age of only 14.4 years? That's not just impressive, it's revolutionary! Today, right here, we're about to make the next step. Prepare to witness the future. The Life Invader mobile device. Yes, we've invented something no one else has ever thought of. A small, personal, computerized device. Now we're going to be able to stay docked 24/7. On the bus, you can dock. On the subway, stay docked.
you could be docking at home, and at the same time, you're docking with some kids at the public pool. We went to the guys at Fruit Computers, and we told them we wanted to make our hardware as compatible as possible. But you know what? They're not interested in sharing their technology. So we went and made it compatible anyway. Now you can dock your light. Oh, hold on a second. I think someone's trying to dock with me. Hello?
Oh! Oh, Jesus! Whoa! Let's... Whoa!
Controls us.
Israel is in control of our government. The government of Israel controls the United States.
Israel has run American foreign policy for 30 years. It feels like we're just owned by Israel. We just never knew it.
Israel first.
Israel first. Israel first. This really is an Israel first administration. Israel.
Hey, Pack! I'm coming to tear your kingdom down!
Vengeance.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning.
The relationship between the US government and the Israeli government is so freaking bizarre that once you see it, and once a whole generation of young people see it, it's like impossible for them to unsee it. The idea that it's just accepted as normal, that the politicians for your country must worship this other country. And you're like, so what, did that other country like beat us in a war and they're occupying us now? And you're like, no, you're the superpower. They're your welfare country, you know? But yet you must go kiss their wall. You must say, hey, Tammy Bruce from the State Department, where she goes, we're the greatest country in the world, well, second greatest to Israel. And you're like, what?
Making things better for people. And in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel. Next to Israel.
That is a weird thing for any representative of your government to say.
You don't get to say that it is anti-Semitic to suspect the hand of Israel in the slaying of Charlie Kirk. Partly because you have slain, assassinated more political leaders than any other country on the earth just in my lifetime. Don't make me go back to Lord Moyne. Don't make me go back to Count Bernadotte of Sweden. Don't make me go back to the British sergeants hanging booby-trapped in the orange groves in Jaffa. Don't make me go that far. Let me just stick to my own political lifespan. You, Israel, have been assassinating people all over the world, in Europe, in the Middle East, and further afield, all of my political lifetime. You assassinated almost half of the government of Yemen just 10 days ago. You don't get to say that it's anti-Semitic to suspect you might have had a hand in assassinating Charlie Kirk when you told us to marvel at your percipience and at your ingenuity, your engineering skills and your patience when you waited years to explode every pager in Lebanon, man, woman, and child notwithstanding. You don't get to say how good you are at killing, but call it anti-Semitic if somebody suspects that you may have killed Charlie Kirk, especially when there are sundry reasons to suspect that you might. And they're multiplied by the hour. When you scrubbed or caused to be scrubbed from YouTube the entirety of the episode of Charlie Kirk when he openly states that you stood down on October the 7th, that it was an inside job, that you were responsible for the events on October 7th. Where is it? Where is it, Mr. YouTube? Who told you to scrub that edition? That is circumstantial evidence that Israel wants to disguise the fact that Charlie Kirk, formerly a slavish supporter of all things Israel and a proponent of some mythical, unbreakable Judeo-Christian civilization, had begun to turn decisively against you. He had begun to call the Epstein affair for what it is. He said, the Epstein affair is Mossad. Epstein is Mossad. He said, not me, that he was afraid that Israel might harm him. He said, not me, that the pro-Israel donors who had fattened his Turning Point USA organization to the tune of $40 million were now abandoning him and threatening him with complete financial collapse of his organization because he invited Tucker Carlson, the world's preeminent broadcaster, to speak at a Turning Point event in the course of the latter part of this year. He said, not me, that it was passing strange, that it was perfectly permissible to criticize Israel in Israel, but that he and others like him on the conservative right in the United States had to be bullied, bludgeoned, browbeaten, bribed, or threatened with the removal of bribes if they did the same.
Said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security. He told me, the Holy Land is so important to my life. Now, if Charlie disagreed with a policy of mine or decision here and there, not only did I not mind, I welcomed it. This is the essence of Charlie. This is the essence of a free country. It's exactly what Charlie stood for. And I knew that his suggestions always came from the heart, from his love for Israel and from his love for the Jewish people. A few weeks before his death, I spoke to Charlie. I invited him to visit Israel again. And sadly, that won't happen. Now some are peddling these disgusting rumors, perhaps out of obsession, perhaps with Qatari funding. What I do know is this: Charlie Kirk was a great man, and a great man deserves honor, not lies. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing.
I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me. This is not a threat, this is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message. I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now, don't do it, okay? Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you were that were exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now and say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're gonna slide into his chair over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Government should be afraid of their...
When they finally come back, they arrest him for obstruction of justice and fucking kiddie porn, and then just don't even address it anymore after that. Nope, just nothing to see there. Are you fucking kidding me? If Israel didn't have anything to do with it, they are doing everything possible to try to make people think they did.
Chill out, dude.
Bill Ackman giving $1 million now to the alleged shooter's father? What in the fuck is that? What in the fuck is that? And this Bill Ackman, as Candace has stated, was pressuring Charlie Kirk to not question Israel and was threatening to take away money, and then gives the father of the shooter $100 million. What in the fuck? Everything, nothing makes sense. Everything looks dirty. Why can nobody tell the truth? Why is it so hard to just tell the fucking truth? I don't get it. I don't get it. Good luck to you all. Stay safe out there. Long live the Republic.
I've sought greater transparency about Jeffrey Epstein and the government handling of the matter. I've continued to investigate during this Congress. Director Patel, was Jeffrey Epstein an intelligence asset for the United States government or the foreign government? And if so, which agencies or governments?
Mr. Chairman, I can only speak to the FBI as the director of the FBI, and Mr. Epstein was not a source for the FBI.
Okay. Would you commit to providing my office with all classified, non-classified records relating to the Epstein matter?
I will commit to providing all records I'm legally permitted to do so under the court orders.
It seems to me that
You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim